Would you recognize true influence if it didn't fit the usual image? Cora Evans walked quietly into Evansworth Couture, a luxury boutique named after her family, disguised as an ordinary shopper. She wore a plain jacket and simple shoes, no flashy logos, no obvious signs of money. She didn't need to flaunt wealth. She'd built this business from nothing. Today, she wasn't here as the owner. She was here to test how her own brand treated customers. The boutique shimmered with elegance, polished stone floors, soft glowing lights, and handbags displayed like priceless art. Cora ran her hand gently over the surface of a finely crafted purse, admiring the detail and quality. "Can I help you?" a voice asked, cool and measured. A young saleswoman, Claire Mason, blonde and sharply dressed, stood nearby with a carefully neutral expression. Cora immediately sensed the silent evaluation, the kind of judgment she knew all too well. "I'd like to see the latest collection," Cora said calmly. Claire's eyes flicked over Cora's outfit. No designer tags, no obvious wealth. Just a neat, modest look. "Certainly," Claire replied, her tone flat. She pointed toward a display. "You might find some pieces in this section more in your price range." The word price range hung in the air, loaded with unspoken assumptions. Cora's eyes drifted to a purse in a locked glass case, the most expensive item in the store. "I'd like to see that one," she said steady. Claire hesitated, forcing a polite smile. "That's very exclusive," she said, not reaching for the key. Cora's fingers tightened around her bag strap, but she stayed calm. "It's not for everyone," Claire added, her voice thick with condescension. A tense silence stretched between them. Cora had been on this side of the counter before, years ago, when she was just starting out. "I still want to see it," she said. Before Claire could answer, a new voice cut through the quiet. "Is there an issue here?" The boutique manager, Helena Price, appeared with an air of quiet control. Older, sharper, with eyes that missed nothing. "No problem," Claire said quickly. "Just helping the customer." She hadn't even asked for Cora's name. Helena studied Cora, the purse, and the situation. With a smooth but firm tone, she said, "I'm sorry, ma'am. This store is meant for a specific clientele. If you're looking for something less expensive, we have other options." The room filled with quiet tension. Cora felt the eyes of other shoppers on her, pretending not to watch but clearly curious. She had a choice: leave and let them keep their ignorance, or remind them exactly who she was. Calmly, she reached into her bag and dialed a number. "Send David to the boutique immediately." Claire and Helena exchanged uneasy looks, neither daring to speak. Minutes later, the boutique doors opened and in walked David Carter, Chief Financial Officer of Evansworth Couture. His presence was commanding, his suit perfect, glasses sharp. Two men followed, the company lawyer and a security officer. Claire straightened, Helena's confusion barely hidden. David nodded politely at Cora. "Ms. Evans," he said, voice steady but authoritative. "I wasn't expecting your visit today." A heavy silence settled like a weight across the store. Claire's breath caught. Helena blinked, trying to process what she just heard. The woman they had dismissed. The woman they subtly humiliated. Their boss. Cora locked eyes with Claire, then Helena, watching the moment fear replaced judgment. She let the silence linger before turning to David. "Thank you for coming so quickly," she said with calm precision. Today was quite revealing. David's jaw tightened. He knew that when Cora was angry, things moved fast. "Would you like to discuss this somewhere private?" he asked. Cora's lips curved into something close to a smile. "No," she replied firmly. "Everyone needs to hear this." Claire gasped. Helena's fingers twitched nervously. The boutique had become a stage for a lesson they wouldn't forget. David nodded once, calm. "As you wish." Cora faced Claire and Helena, voice steady but carrying a weight that silenced them. "Do you know who I am?" Helena answered first. "Ms. Evans." Cora raised a hand, stopping her gently. "You had no clue, did you?" she said, eyes studying them. "The moment I walked in, you judged me. My clothes, my shoes, my bag. You decided who I was without hearing a word." Claire swallowed hard. "Ms. Evans, I didn't mean—" "Yes, you did," Cora interrupted. You meant to make me feel I didn't belong. Claire's eyes glistened, but she stayed silent. Helena, trying a new approach, said, Ms. Evans, we have strict policies about exclusivity. Exclusivity? Cora repeated. What's exclusive about Evensworth Couture? Helena faltered. We serve customers who value and invest in luxury. And you decided I wasn't one of them. Neither woman answered. Cora sighed. This isn't just about me. I built Evensworth to be both elegant and welcoming. What happened today shows we lost that. David nodded. Ms. Evans, what would you like to do? Cora turned back to Claire and Helena. Effective immediately. Review all hiring and training practices here. Every employee must be retrained. And these two, she said, eyes steady, will no longer represent Evensworth Couture. Claire gasped. Helena clenched her jaw, but nodded, accepting the decision. The moment passed. Cora turned to David. Take it from here. Without another word, Cora stepped past the locked display case and walked out. The store fell silent. Outside, she stood on the sidewalk, arms crossed, watching the city carry on as if nothing had changed. David joined her shortly after. It's done. Cora nodded. This isn't about just one store, David. He sighed. I know. You wanted Evensworth to be different. I remember what it felt like to be judged before I even spoke. David let the weight of her words sink in. This goes beyond Claire and Helena, she said, glancing back inside. It's about the culture we've allowed to grow. David exhaled. What's next? Her face unreadable, Cora said. It's time to shake things up. The next morning, Evensworth Couture released a statement. Luxury isn't about exclusion. It's about skill, quality, and respect. Today reminded us we lost sight of that. That changes now. The story spread quickly. Cora Evans, CEO of a top fashion house, had been discriminated against in her own store, and she made it public. Some called it brave, others risky, but everyone was talking. Executives sat tensely in boardrooms. Cora stood at the head of the table, calm and firm. I'm sure you've seen the news, she said. Good. Here's what comes next. She straightened. We're immediately changing our hiring and training processes. A senior executive hesitated. With respect, Cora cut in. This is not up for debate. She continued. We won't just apologize. We will act. Every store will have its customer experience reviewed. All employees, from salespeople to managers, will take thorough training on inclusion, service, and professionalism. Another executive leaned forward. This could affect how people see the brand. Cora's gaze sharpened. If we lose customers because we won't tolerate discrimination, then those customers were never the right ones. No one argued. 1 week later, sunlight filled Evensworth's flagship store on Maple Street. Cora returned to find the staff standing taller, their greetings warmer, their attention genuine. As she moved through the store, she noticed a real change, not just in their eyes, but in how they treated every customer. She saw a young man in sneakers examining a silk shirt without being ignored, and an older woman admiring a leather wallet while receiving honest assistance. Then she spotted the purse, the very one Claire had refused to show her before. Cora approached, fingers brushing the smooth leather. A new sales assistant smiled warmly. Would you like a closer look, ma'am? No hesitation, no judgment, just kindness. Yes, please, Cora replied, smiling. For the first time in years, she felt proud of her company. After Cora's public statement, Evensworth's corporate office was flooded with calls, some from anxious executives, but mostly from customers sharing stories of feeling invisible or discouraged. The problem was bigger than one store. Social media exploded with #EvensworthTruth. Public opinion shifted from criticism to praise as Cora took bold action, firing those responsible and enforcing real change. A month later, Cora announced a permanent reform to ensure respect and inclusion, plus a new leadership program for diverse young professionals. Evensworth Couture was no longer just a luxury brand. It had become a movement,